it's Ty with Ty the Dog Guy on the Daily, and if you're not watching the video portion of this podcast, I'll just explain what I'm pointing at here. I'm pointing at 4 bracelets, cheap bracelets, just simple bracelets here, but 4 bracelets, and I want to tell you the story about these 4 bracelets. I was at our work today, working with some dogs, and in walks a young woman, and she comes over to the desk and starts talking to me. And to be honest, I really didn't understand much of what she said. I did gather that she was from Thailand, and I did gather that she'd been in the country for a week. And she had, she opened up this binder type thing, or this carrier, and inside there was bracelets and earrings and other jewelry and necklaces and things like that. And again, I really don't know what the gist of it was. She had a laminate thing with some writing on it that kind of explained the story, but frankly I was just too busy. I didn't have time to think about what she was saying. But the main points that I gathered was that she was from Thailand. She was raising money for something to live, or for some friends, or I couldn't understand, and that she had this jewelry for sale. And like I say, I was just so busy, and at first, I was like tempted. I don't have time. But immediately it struck me how just the work ethic of this young woman. I mean, because you look at today's work ethic, and I don't know, I'd gather she was 17, 18 years old, something like that, who knows. But you look at the work ethic of today's 17 or 18-year-old here in America, how many of them are going to go cold calling to businesses attempting to sell jewelry and trinkets and other things like that? And the answer is, I mean, you would have to twist some arms and threaten jail time in order to get, at least most kids in my neighborhood to go do something like that. And so it struck me immediately how monumental it was for someone who didn't speak the language to walk into a store, look me in the eye, calmly explain what she was doing in the best way she could, even though I didn't understand it very well, and then attempt to make a transaction, to make a sale. And I was like, gosh darn it, that is pretty darn amazing. I speak a tiny bit of Portuguese. For me to think like I could go do something like that in Portuguese was just, it blew my mind. It blew my mind what this young woman was doing. So I almost turned her away, but then, in recognizing how awesome this was, what she was doing, I grabbed these 4 bracelets. I've got 4 daughters, and so when they get home today, I'll give them these bracelets. And to be honest, they'll probably be broken within about 4 to 5 hours. But it was less about the gift of the bracelets, and it was more about essentially rewarding that behavior that found its way to me, that I just felt this needs to be rewarded. And I'll spend $20 to reward something like that. I would hope that one day, if it was my daughter doing the same thing in a foreign country, that someone would do the same thing for her, or for me, or whatever. But anyways, where I'm going with this is I'm always looking for opportunities to do the same thing with our dogs. When we're training dogs, I'm always looking for opportunities to find good behavior, that the dog's trying to give me, attempting to give me, sometimes doing poorly, but attempting to do. I'm always trying to find instances where the dog is throwing good behavior at me so that I can positively reinforce it. If you know anything about us and our company and how we train, you know that we're a balanced approach to where we do use, we use corrections that are humane and fair, but we do use a lot of positive reinforcement. And oftentimes, I call it found behavior. Behavior that the dog just happens to be doing that's good. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't asking for it. Just like today, I wasn't expecting a young woman from Thailand to come in and try to sell me something. I wasn't asking for it. But that behavior found me, and so I positively reinforced it. Now, what behavior finds you with your dog? One that I'm constantly trying to reinforce is focus. So when I'm hanging out with a dog, or training with a dog, or walking with a dog, or sitting with a dog, or whatever, and they throw some focus at me that I didn't ask for, meaning like, they just turn up to look and like they're engaged with me, it's found behavior. In that moment, boom, I reward, I praise, I let them know what a great job that was that they did that. Focus is a big one. or maybe, you know, we're about to walk out the door and the dog looks at me and sits. You know, I didn't ask the dog to sit, but it's found behavior. Hey, that was a good decision. Good job. Or, you know, we're coming to a curb and the dog waits. I didn't even ask the dog to wait, but the dog waits. And so I want to encourage you to look for found behavior with your dog. Cool things that your dog might be doing that has nothing to do with what you're asking for, or just kind of came out of nowhere, but it's good stuff. Don't just brush over it, which is a tendency a lot of us have, that I almost had with this young Thai woman. Don't just brush over it. Look, when that behavior finds you, make a big deal about it. Let your dog know how awesome it was, and you're going to start seeing more found behavior that's positive and is the type of behavior that you want long term. So look for it. You'll find it.